armed missile from a small base called Pankovo on Yuzhny Island, an uninhabited strip of land which has been used in nuclear weapons testing since the 1950s. The launch was an early-phase test of the extremely powerful Burevestnik missile. The Burevestnik program is an attempt by the Kremlin to develop a weapon that is both nuclear-armed and nuclear-powered, meaning it is driven by a sustained nuclear reaction that could potentially allow it to travel unlimited distances and stay in flight for a nearly unlimited amount of time. During the test launch, however, the missile only traveled for a brief 2 minutes before it lost directional control and was sent screaming out of the sky into the remote waters somewhere off the northern coast of Russia. After the missile splashed down, the Russian government lost track of its location, and search teams were unable to recover it intact or locate any possible debris. Given its short flight time, the radius that the missile could have traveled before crashing is limited. Yuzhny Island is the southern island of the Novaya Zemlya archipelago that splits the Barents Sea to the west from the Kara Sea to the east. Given that the launch angle of the missile was decidedly in the northwest direction, away from civilization, it seems most likely that the downed Burevestnik, a top-secret and potentially game-changing weapon, is still hiding somewhere in the sprawling Barents Sea. And with this information now leaked into the public sphere, it's a safe bet that the Russians aren't the only ones hunting for it. The Burevestnik, or Storm Petrel, has been in development since the early 2000s, when its early designs were folded into an experimental weapons program. First announced by Russian President Vladimir Putin, the missile is said to include several new and innovative nuclear delivery systems. Most significantly, the Burevestnik utilizes a first-of-its-kind nuclear-powered engine which drives the missile via a sustained nuclear reaction. This is in stark contrast to the previous missiles of its class, which have been powered by turbofan engines and maxed out at distances below 1,000 miles. In theory, Burevestnik's new drive system would give it an unlimited range. With such a capability, the missile could be launched days or weeks before an intended strike, make multiple attempts at locating a target, and could tackle and adjust to any other number of unplanned scenarios. The launch from Yuzhny Island in November 2017 is thought to have been one of the first live tests of the Burevestnik. U.S. intelligence sources believe at least 4 more prototypes were also launched in the following months, but the November 2017 launch was the only test that was deemed successful. Putin himself gave it such a distinction, saying, quote, "The engine reached its design capacity and provided the necessary propulsion." Sources suggest that this indicates the nuclear engine had functioned properly before losing control. In all of the tests that followed, the missile's nuclear engine never properly engaged, and the flight time of the missiles was therefore much shorter. The quickest among them flew a mere 5 seconds before the missile lost control and crashed. Due to these shorter flight times, the wreckage sites of the tests were much easier to locate and salvage. Currently, however, the November 2017 missile still appears to be missing in action somewhere in the Arctic waters north of Russia. Fleet movements seem to imply that both the Russian and U.S. intelligence communities seem to be intent on finding it first. The Burevestnik remains an elusive and intriguing target for whoever can locate it, and its recovery would not be the first such case of finders-keepers in the clandestine battle between the U.S. and Russia to uncover and undermine each other's nuclear capabilities. The Russian motive for putting significant effort into a recovery mission of the Burevestnik is clear. The missile is their equipment and contains top-secret technology. They likely have a stake in both recovering the wreckage to reverse engineer what went wrong, and more crucially, in keeping competing world powers like the US from finding it first and doing the same thing. The Russian search effort so far has appeared to involve sending a fleet of military ships into the Barents Sea to locate and recover the missile. Because it's unknown what state the wreck site is in, it is believed that at least one of the ships would likely be specifically equipped to handle any radioactive material that may have leaked from the missile's nuclear core upon impact with the surface of the water. There are many notoriously high-tech and specially equipped Russian vessels that have been linked to possible recovery efforts. One such ship is the Yantar, a government research vessel that is also often involved in covert and military operations. In 2017, it was used to recover 2 downed Russian fighter jets, which had crashed in the Mediterranean Sea. It is reportedly equipped with special gear, enabling it to retrieve debris from below at depths of up to 18,000 feet. Fueling rumors of its involvement in the search, the Yantar was spotted in June 2018, traveling across the English Channel on its way to the North Sea. Continuing along the northern coast of Norway would lead the Yantar directly into the Barents Sea. In photographs taken of the ship during this journey, a Saab CI Tiger robot was visible on the ship's deck. The Tiger is a remotely operated underwater vehicle, or ROV, which has proven to be effective in cleaning dangerous, potentially radioactive underwater wreckage sites. While the Tiger and the other specialized equipment aboard the Yantar would make a lot of sense to employ in the search for the Burevestnik, it was never confirmed whether that was the Yantar's objective. Additional clues into the search appeared to go dormant for the better part of 2 months. Then, on August 8, 2018, Russian media reported that an armada of 8 ships from Russia's northern fleet had departed from its base at Severomorsk with a curiously vague mission statement. Quote, to ensure the safety of navigation and other marine economic activities of Russia in the Arctic region. Some of the ships chosen for the assignment were obvious inclusions for Arctic exploration, an icebreaker, a minesweeper, and an oiler included. But 2 specific ships present for the expedition indicated that the flotilla may have had a secret ulterior motive. One of these was a Kill 143, a crane ship used for heavy-duty seafloor salvage, which would be very useful in hauling up missile remains. Another, the specialized nuclear fuel container vessel Serebryanka, seems ideal as a way to bring any contaminated materials from the wreck site back to home base. No reports or sightings of the flotilla of Russian ships have been made since, leading many to believe that the hunt for the Burevestnik is still underway. U.S. media picked up the story of the missing Burevestnik missile shortly after the suspicious Russian flotilla left base in August 2018. The head start the Russians had given themselves to find the missile before any competing interests had all but evaporated. It was reported in March of 2018 that the U.S. government had already been keeping a close eye on the test missiles being launched from Yuzhny Island. A source within the U.S. intelligence community cast doubts on Putin's assertions that several of the nuclear-powered weapons in development, including the Burevestnik, would be war-ready by 2020. The source said that, in fact, the missiles did not appear anywhere near operational from the tests they had observed. The U.S. Navy is in possession of several submarines that were specifically modified to recover Cold War-era Soviet missiles from the sea floor and bring them back for research and analysis. One such submarine is the USS Jimmy Carter, a state-of-the-art nuclear-powered Seawolf-class submarine first commissioned by the Navy in 1996. The submarine's original designs were altered in 2000 to extend the Jimmy Carter's hull by 100 feet to add room for remotely operated vehicles, submersibles, and other special operation equipment, as well as special storage space to be utilized in high-volume reconnaissance missions. It's currently stationed at Naval Base Kitsap on the peninsula of Washington State. A U.S. recovery effort would, of course, be tantamount to stealing trade secrets from a rival on the global stage, so any effort to do so would have to be cloaked in secrecy. So far, it is unclear just how much the United States has involved itself in the race to recover the lost Burevestnik. It does at least appear that U.S. intelligence agencies have been monitoring the test at Pankovo Base very closely, and it's clear what the advantage would be were they to beat the Russians to locating the missile. But Russia has not yet broken any of the terms of the Indeterminate Range Nuclear Forces Treaty, which was installed at the end of the Cold War, and prevents any world powers from producing cruise missiles that have flight ranges of 300 to 3,000 miles. Since the Burevestnik is nuclear-powered, and theoretically has an unlimited flight range, it is unclear how the INF would categorize it. It would almost certainly be deemed a breach of